All right, next group up is Appalachian Eagles. Coach Zach Jones. He's got a couple players he'll introduce to you. And if you know Coach Jones, he's a young guy, and I think his second year at Appalachian. And but he's got a lot of fire, and we're glad you're here, buddy, and look forward to hearing you.
Thank you. I wouldn't have picked to go behind Coach because I know everybody's just ready to go home. Nobody really cares what I have to say. Coach, everything sounds a lot different from what I was going to talk about after hearing Coach Way. When you start talking about, the big life things, I know X's and O's and depth charts and schedule and stuff don't matter as much. But we're going to try to say some words anyway. I don't know if anybody's listening after that. But today I have with me Trey Calvert and Tyler Cardwell, running back and offensive lineman. One's a senior, one's a junior, one's one of my two seniors. As we start talking about our depth chart, coaches start talking about 20-something seniors. Y'all speaking some other kind of language for me. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. Okay, so I like 1, 2, like really 2 fingers. My little 3-year-old does it all the time. And I want to appreciate again before we get started, the radio guys. My kids are able to sit at home and listen to this, and that's awesome. I've had people in the community asking, can we listen to it on the app? Can we put it up on the computer? Is it going to be on the radio? And what it really is able to do for the guys that are here. Coach Hood talked about what a good thing it is for these kids. What a special treat it should be for them. To be able to represent their school, and what an opportunity it is for those guys, to be able to build, some character and some, be able to experience something that they can take with them. But getting back to football, we're very young still. You don't talk to too many people that started multiple 8th graders on an offensive line. We were freshmen. Right now in the spring, we were freshmen. Junior, freshman, sophomore, 8th grader, freshman on our offensive line. So we're still pretty young. We got 2 returning seniors on the team from last year. We have another couple that have come out for a grand total of 4. So we're getting older by the minute that came out for spring. But we're excited. We've had I'm as proud of this team as anything I've ever been a part of, and it's because of them. It's because of the work they put in. We turned right around after the season last year and just went straight to work. Usually you take off weeks and stuff. No, we didn't. We just went straight to work. 6:30 in the morning, and we're just wearing it out. And that's what we had to do. There was stuff we had to get changed and stuff we had to build, but mentally and physically. And it don't matter what a coach does if the players don't believe it. And it doesn't matter what a coach does or thinks if players don't take it to heart and if they don't make it happen. I've told them all the time, my eligibility is long gone, so I never step on the field one time. And they're the ones that control the locker room and do all those things that are so important. So they really grabbed hold of it and just ran with it. And I'm so proud of them. I've been here a calendar year, pretty much starting a week ago, and I feel like I've been there about 4 or 5. Because I've spent so much time with these guys, and I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to be around a group of guys that work so hard to deserve something. I tell them all the time that you don't get a lot of times. There ain't but one thing in this life you get that you don't deserve, and everything else you have to deserve it. So they've done a real good job, I think, so far of trying to deserve it, try to earn what they want. But our schedule is it's a tough schedule, but any coach will tell you you fight to either you have a soft schedule and you got to worry about stuff when you're getting ready for the playoffs. You got a hard schedule and you got to fight through that. We'll play several top 10 teams right off the bat. We open up in county with Southeastern. I think it'll be a great game for us, and then we play Coosa Christian at Gadsden, and then we'll go to Wadley, which is a very, very, very good football team. And then we play Talladega County Central, Victory Christian, Winterboro, Donahoe. There's no bad teams in our region, and everybody's like that. Everybody plays hard teams, but so you got to be ready to go every week. So our schedule is a very good schedule, but I feel like if you do what you're supposed to during that schedule, we'll be prepared to play anybody when we get to the playoffs. I'm real happy with that. I love playing 0 week. We are playing the 0 week like Coach talked about. I think it does help you a lot in your preparation in your summer. And have something to look forward to. I don't like jamboree games, period. Everybody's always worried, well, you don't want to show this, you don't want to get this guy hurt. Let's just play a game. So we'll play 0 week against Southeastern. It's a county team, nice little rivalry. So that gives us something to kind of look forward to. Makes the season hurry up. I like it to hurry up and get here. I tell people all the time, I hate the 10 minutes before a game, and I hate the few weeks before you get into the real game week situation. We're almost here. We're almost after it. I'm excited to be here. I'm real excited that y'all are doing this. I can't thank y'all enough. And I'm gonna have Trey. Tyler, you want to speak first, right? I'm gonna tell you about Tyler Cardle is he might be no offense, but he could be probably the best assistant I have if he wasn't a player. He's one of the smartest kids I've ever coached. And he does a real good job of doing what he's supposed to on and off the field and understanding our schemes and helping the guys up front. So I think Trey agreed to let him speak first. Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, I do hold it high honor to be here today. I'd like to thank WCRL and all the media for being here. Excited about this season. We've had a great summer. Our players have bought in, like Coach said. Also, I think we do play in one of the toughest regions in 1A, which I like, gives us competition. So I'm ready to get it kicked off.
Thank you all for having us. We really appreciate it. We've all worked really hard this offseason, the hardest I've ever worked, the hardest probably any of us has ever worked. And it's just been nonstop ever since football has ended. So come out and support us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, if anybody's got any questions or anything.
Anybody have a question?
I know.
Tell us a little bit about, and I imagine in this room, Southeastern may be the only other school that fits this question, but being a Class A school with the numbers and all of that, how many kids play both ways among your starters, maybe all of them, I don't know, and how many kids you anticipate dressing?
Well, and that's interesting you say that. I came from a 6A school, so it was like jumping from the Atlantic Ocean into a mud puddle. When I got just as far as my adjustment of understanding it takes a little time to kind of going from great extremes and just how you manage things, manage the numbers of coaches, manage the numbers of players, and getting used to, obviously you go from having a separate defensive and offensive staff and unit to where, the majority of it, we got a good player. We need him on the field as much as possible. The majority of our players, I'd say at least, we'll play, 9 to 10 both ways. Right now, we're making sure everybody makes it through for a few weeks, but we should be around the 36 number as far as our total. Which I'm not a coach that believes in having 50 people out there and 50 don't want to be there. Coach Niblett, when I played for him, he always used to call them steak eaters and bus riders. Coach Gill, I tell you, I'm not a fan of steak eaters and bus riders. I want guys that are going to put in the work and are going to do what they're supposed to do and put in the time. Where not just me, but every other player on the team knows they can trust them. Knows you put in the time. They've sweat with them. They've ate with them. They've done everything together, and I think that's so very important for a locker room and for a team unit. So we should be in that mid-30s number by the time the dust settles. And we do have a large allotment of players playing both ways. And that doesn't mean every snap. We're going to try to run multiple units as best as we can, especially on the defensive line. Offensive line, most of the guys tell you don't want to be rolling those guys in and out. Defensive line, you can do a little more of that as long as everybody understands scheme. But like Trey will play linebacker as well. Tyler will play, possibly some D-tackle, some 5 technique in for us, too, some strong ends. So, most guys, if we got a receiver type, he's definitely, they're all going to have 2 positions. Most of our receivers are going to play DB, running back, linebacker types, O-line, D-line types. But not everybody else play both ways, but they all have 2 positions. And that was something I had to get used to. We kind of grouping those. And how you group them, when you're drilling them in the summer. You know, how do you group those guys where if you got a guy that's maybe a tight end type, you know, but does he play D-line or linebacker? So when you're working defensive drills, you know, you want that guy with that other group, you know, depending on what day you're working stuff during the summer. So, you know, it was a learning curve, and it kind of forces you to adjust, and I really like it. But yeah, it's different, and we do have a large amount of players playing both ways, which, and I'm not to stretch out the question, but I think it's good for them in a way too. You know, I had a coach tell me one time that there's no way you can be a good defensive coach if you don't understand offensive philosophy, and there's no way you can be a good offensive coach if you don't understand defense. You know, so I think, you know, for me to have a quarterback that's back there playing safety, I think that's good for him. You know, for me to have an offensive lineman that you know, working defensive end. So now when I'm telling that offensive lineman about spilling we got a defensive end squeezing down and talking about, you know, logging or kicking out a guy to squeeze the defensive end, I think that's better for him. I think he understands that more because he plays both ways. So in a way, I think it's an advantage for us.
Coach, clearly you got here so late last year that the transition was difficult. You just talk about how different it's been in this second year now that you've had time to get your full program implemented.
You know, I don't even know if I can explain the difference. You know, I took the job, you know, accepted the job. You know, we went through the board in like mid-July. I had driver's ed school for 2 weeks, and the day I met a good majority of the kids was August 1st. And that's fantastic, you know, as a football coach. To not only, you know, you should be trying to clean stuff up, and I'm installing. I'm talking about base stuff now, installing. Like, so, you know, and we never got caught up during the season, just to be honest with you. It was week-to-week game plan, and we never got time to drill stuff. We never got time to work details, which is what matters. And you know, as a coach, you want to be able to look at your players and tell them, you know, we've earned this. I do anyway, you know, and, you know, I'm a big believer in just little quick sayings. Control the controllables. You know, I talk to them all the time about controlling the things you control and letting everything else go. You know, and the fact that you put in the work and the sweat equity to earn something. And I couldn't say that last year because I literally, you know, I'm trying to call formations here and I don't know players' names. You know, I'm having to stay up late trying to learn players' names, position groups. You know, and I sure didn't know what I thought a kid could do based on what I'd seen before. So, you know, to be able to come into, you understand what a luxury it is to have a spring and an off season and a summer, you know, to not only know the kids, but to have been able to put in the work and the sweat equity to really know that you've earned something when you receive it and not just say it. So it's a world of difference. It's daylight and dark. I can't even, my brain can't even process last season very well, just to be honest with you. But this year, you know, I really feel like this is my first year there, you know, to really know them and they be my guys. Nobody else. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.